This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, R.O.S.E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of R.O.S E, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Joyce Petrowski, founder and board president of R.O.S E Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. You can find more resources on our website at roseadvocacy.org. You can find our social media links and also sign up for our emailed and mailed newsletters down at the bottom of the homepage. Last week, we talked about a public service announcement from the FBI that scammers were impersonating the Internet Crime Complaint Center, which is a division of the FBI. And today I want to talk about the 2024 Internet Crime Complaint Center's report, annual report that they do every year. The 2024 came out late last week, and it's got a lot of information about the scams and the victims that reported during 2024. Now, if you remember what we talked about last week, the Internet Crime Complaint Center, you can find these reports on so that's I as in indigo, C as in cat, the number 3.gov. This is where you can also report crimes, scams, whether you've lost money or not, you can still report it. And this department of the FBI is a data collection, and they collect all this information and then they disseminate it out to the appropriate law enforcement wherever the crime has taken place. So getting back to the 2024 IC3 annual report, I'm going to put up on the screen here one called Complaints Filed by Individuals 60 Plus. And if you can see that, and this is just in the year of 2024. And just for the 60-year-old and older age population, and this is all throughout the United States, there was over 147,000 complaints. And of those complaints, they lost a combined total of $4.885 billion in losses. That's B as in boy, billion. Now in 2023, and you can see from the graph below goes all the way from 2018 through 2024. So in 2023, the complaints were just over 101,000, and they went all the way up to just over 147,000 in 1 year. That's a 46% increase. And the losses in 2023, they were around 3.4 billion, and they're up to 4.885 billion, just shy of $5 billion. That's a 43% increase in losses from 2023 to 2024. Now, of those 147,000 complaints, there were 7,500 that lost more than $100,000 in the scam that they were reporting. And if we want to average all of this out, the average loss was $83,000. So this is just crazy. This is going way up, and we need to really take a hard look at um, prevention tools. And at R.O.S E, we firmly believe that the best prevention is education. It's awareness, it's education, and then it's knowing how to protect yourself. And then knowing that it's okay to talk about scams. And if whether you've received something and you've fallen victim or you haven't fallen victim, it's good to talk about it, because it makes your family and friends more aware of what's going on, but it also helps everyone involved keep scam prevention top of mind. Um, so if we break that down, we're going to go to another chart called 3-year comparison, the 60-year-old population complaint and losses. So this is where they compare from 2022, 23, and 24 based on the type of crime that was committed. And I've highlighted some numbers here. So the investment scam was by far the one in this age population where the most money was lost. In 24, it was $1.8 billion. And that is almost doubled from 2022. It was 990,000 in 2022. Now those are investment schemes. So we talked about pig butchering before, where the scammer establishes the relationship, but then gets you to invest in crypto, and you think you're getting you're making all of this money, and you're not, because when you want to go take it out, it's not there, and the scammer's not there. So there's a lot of dollars in this age population lost to investment scams. And if you can see the other dollar amounts for all the other ones, there's, confidence and romance fraud was about 390,000. Government impersonation was just over 200, I should say 200 billion. The romance and confidence fraud was just under 390 billion. What are some other ones on here? Personal data breach, 254 billion. But if you look down towards the bottom, there's tech support. And in 2022, those losses were 500 and just shy of 586 billion. And all the way up to 2024, it reaches $982 billion. So between the investment and the tech support, we're looking at what is this? I'm doing the math in my head. So 2.8, just over $2.8 billion. Or what is it? Am I adding? Yeah, over 2.8 billion dollars just in those two scams alone. And so we've talked about the tech support before as well. When that first came out, everybody realized it was the pop-up on your device that talked about, you have a virus, and call us and we can help you get this off your device. Well, scammers, as they do, they evolve, and they go to then impersonating. You might get an email from a scammer, but they're impersonating some larger tech support company like Microsoft or McAfee or the Geek Squad, or something like that. And they might be talking to you about a subscription, or they could be saying that they've noticed some unusual activity, or that you could have some malware, whatever. They've upped their game. But then a few years back, the FBI had put out a public service announcement because they were seeing such an uptick in a different tech support, which is where they would get a hold of you, again, impersonating, McAfee, Microsoft, one of these larger, more well-known tech support companies, and say that you were owed a refund on a subscription. And if you had happened to have a subscription with whoever they were impersonating, it made it all the more believable. And they would get you to uh, allow them access to your computer, and they would go in and put it, put it in your account. I'm saying that in quotes because they would show that it's going into your account, but then lo and behold, they put too many zeros in there to the left of the decimal point. And then it went into this whole thing about how they're going to get in so much trouble, they might get fired. And so you had to go get the money and send it back. And then a couple days later, you found out that money was never in your account to begin with. And so you were out all of that money. So the tech support's been going on for a long time. It's been one of the top 3 with this age population, and it still is. The romance scams used to be in the top 3 years ago, but they've come down some. They're still out there, but they've come down. But this investment one, if you can see down all the way down at the bottom of the table, the cryptocurrency, there was $2.8 billion lost to cryptocurrency. That was the medium that the scammer used in order to get your money. So, and it was, whether it was investing in what you thought was legitimate cryptocurrency or some other scam where they would have you actually go to a cryptocurrency ATM machine and put your money in there. So now I want to take those numbers and I want to break them down to the state of Arizona because that's where R.O.S.E operates right now. And we want to see what this looks like. So the next chart I want to show is the overall state statistics, the counts by state from complaints filed by individuals. So once again, Arizona is in the top 10. This is not a statistic that we want to be in the top 10 in. We want to be down. And actually it shows there's 57 of them here. So we want to be number 57. Anyways, we're number 4 again this year. If you guys remember from 2023, there were just over 5,500 complaints filed. Again, same age population, 60-year-old and older. Well, in 24, there was just under 6,700 complaints filed. California was number 1, Florida's number 2, Texas is number 3. I will say we usually do run behind those 3. They usually are the top 3. But, Pennsylvania and New York, they're down there. I would have expected New York to be a little bit higher, but good for them that they're, number 6. But Arizona, number 7, number 4, we need to really, really work hard and we need to bring this victim count down a lot. And again, scam prevention through education is really the best way that R.O.S.E believes in order to start making a dent in these numbers. So let's see how much money those 6,683 victims lost. The overall state statistics with the losses by state is the next chart I'm going to show. And that one, we are number 6. You can see California's number 1, Texas, Florida, and they're New York. So New York it was interesting. New York was number 6 in number of victims, but they are number 4 in number of losses, where Arizona was number 4 in number of victims, and we are number 6. Arizona is number 6 in amount of losses. $190 million. Now, if you remember when we've talked about this before, in 2020, the 60 plus residents of Arizona that reported they were a victim, it was $27 million. And then it went to 54 million in 2021, then 83 million in 2022, 128 million in 2023. Now we're up to $190 million that was reported lost. This is people's life savings. And, whatever the scam is, it's devastating. The scammers exploit their victims' emotions and get them to make rash decisions based on emotions, because we know that if we were making a decision based on rational thought, there's a very good chance we would not have done what the scammer had asked us to do. So scammers are getting much, much better and they're going to continue to get better because you can see the amount of money that they are making. Just to give you an idea, for all age populations that reported they were a victim in 2024, I believe the total losses were $16.6 billion, up from about 12.5 billion, I believe it was in 2023. So lots of money out there. These scammers are making billions and billions, if not close to trillions of dollars. They are going to just continue to evolve their techniques, perfect their techniques. They're changing and adapting to all this new technology that's coming out, right? We've talked about artificial intelligence. They have figured out how to use it to their advantage with the using the generative text like Chat GPT to create their emails, to create their letters. And yes, they will still send stuff in the mail, not as much as they used to, but they still do. And so the bad grammar part of it, you really can't look for that anymore. But they also use the deep fakes with the videos, where in the romance scam, they wouldn't come on camera because they knew what they look like wasn't like the pictures that they'd been sending you. So they wouldn't come on camera. Well, now they can make it seem like you are actually talking to the person in the pictures when it's really them behind it. And then the audio, they need, and I'm not exactly sure how much, but I think it's around 15, 20-second audio recording of someone's voice. And they can get all the different fluctuations in the voice to then turn around and make that voice say what they want it to say. So you get a call and um, with the grandparent scam, remember when they first started that, they didn't even know if you had grandchildren. Well, then they were able to figure that out through a variety of different tools online, and then what your grandkids' names were. But then a lot of people would say, well, I knew it wasn't my grandchild because it wasn't their voice. Well, now with this AI voice recording, the voice sounds like your grandchild, which makes it even more difficult to decipher what's going on and get you into that emotional state of fear for your grandchild, that you want to do whatever's possible as quick as possible to help them out without stopping to think. So, you can see from all this money that they're making that they aren't going to stop. They're going to keep perfecting. So this scam prevention through education program that R.O.S.E has is of the utmost importance. And it's not just having it once. It needs to be at a minimum once a year. You know, some places might want to have it twice a year, but a minimum of once a year. And then we have a wide variety of ways that you can keep up to date on things through social media, through newsletters, through this radio show, lots of different ways. So one of the things they put in this annual report is the cryptocurrency fraud for 2024. And I wanted to share this uh, this page with you guys. And these statistics are for all of the age populations. You can see the different age ranges in the middle there under complaints referencing cryptocurrency. And this is going to be when somebody files a complaint and they said they have either invested in cryptocurrency or they've paid in cryptocurrency. The crime involves cryptocurrency somehow. So at the top, there was just under 150,000 complaints, totaling 9.3 billion in losses. So that was a 66% increase in losses from 2023. And the largest age group for these losses, the 60 plus population. If you look at that table, you know, the under 20 was 7 million. Then we get up to the 20 to 29 is 370 million. 30 to 39, it gets a little higher at just over a billion. You have 40 to age 40 to 49 is about half of what the 60 plus population. And then age 50 to 59 is a little lower than the 40s, just over or just under 1.2 million. But the 60 plus population, $2.8 million in cryptocurrency. And you can look at the graph below. So the red bars, vertical bars, are the amount of losses. And you can see, look at how little those how small those red bars are in 2017, which is the first one, 18, 19, 20. Then it starts to creep up in 21. It pretty much doubles in 22, goes up a little bit more in 23. And now look at this big jump in 2024. And then it looks green on the screen, but the line, and that's the number of complaints. So again, it shot up from 2017 to 18, and then it kind of stayed steady from 18 to 19 to 20 to 21. And then it starts going up again to 20 in 22 and 23. It goes up a little bit, but then it shoots way up for 2024. So this is cryptocurrency has really come into play as a way that scammers want their money. And my understanding is with cryptocurrency is that when it first came out, it was pretty much anonymous. Hence why the scammers liked it. One, they could get their money quickly, but then they also it was anonymous, so it made it really difficult for law enforcement to try to find them. But my understanding is over these recent years is that with new technology available, that law enforcement is able to that these crypto wallets are not as anonymous as they were, and law enforcement has better tools available to them to be able to find the criminals behind these crypto wallets. So just big thing to remember with cryptocurrency. If anybody asks you to pay in cryptocurrency, the answer is no. The only way you should be putting money in through cryptocurrency is if you are in fact investing in cryptocurrency, but then you want to make sure that you have researched the cryptocurrency, you are comfortable with it, you know the risk involved, and that if you are going through a broker, you are using a reputable broker and you are using a reputable cryptocurrency fund. I know they have a lot of different types. I don't even want to begin. I don't even know. Bitcoin is one that I know comes to mind, but I know there's a ton of other ones. So you really have to do your research, and you really have to be working with reputable cryptocurrency funds and reputable people in the cryptocurrency world. But if somebody is asking for payment for something in cryptocurrency, no. The hair on the back of your neck should be going up. That's a scam. So another table that the IC3 put in was cryptocurrency in fraud trends, to kind of see the different types of scams that are prevalent with cryptocurrency. And one is cryptocurrency investment. We talked about a couple slides ago about how the investment fraud was, as far as the amount of losses, was the number one with the 60 plus population. Well, if you look at this cryptocurrency investment schemes, the over 60 was $1.6 billion out of that 2.8 that we talked about on the page before. So, and the FBI has actually put out a warning because they've seen spikes in these cryptocurrency investment schemes. One of them, which is the pig butchering one that we talked about just a little bit ago. Another one is the cryptocurrency ATMs and kiosks. Now, we've talked about that as well, where the scammer wants you to, send the money via these cryptocurrency ATMs. There was the 60 plus population. They lost over $107 million with that. And again, there's a warning down there. The FBI warns of fraudulent schemes leveraging cryptocurrency ATMs or QR codes to facilitate payments. So breaking that down even farther, the crime types most associated with crypto ATM use, tech support. Now, that was the second most losses in the 60 plus population a couple of slides ago. So there was over $107 million in tech support that was paid through a cryptocurrency ATM. Now they also have extortion and investment and government impersonation in there as well, but by far tech support is the largest. And then down at the bottom, they have the extortion and sextortion by age group. And basically that's malicious actors manipulating photos and videos to create explicit content and sexual, or let me start that over. Malicious actors manipulating photos and videos to create explicit content and sextortion schemes. There was, for the over 60, it was the, out of all the age groups, lost the most money with that. It's over $724 million. So wide variety of crimes, and where cryptocurrency was the median in order to pay money over. So that's what those are the IC3 schedules that I wanted to go over with you today. If you want to look at the whole report, it's all one report this year. There is no separate elder fraud report. It's at I as in igloo, C as in cat, the number 3.gov, and just click on 2000 or reports in 2024, and it'll take you right to the report. But there is a public service announcement that the FBI had put out on August 2nd of 2024. I know it's like 9 months old, almost. Yeah, it's about 9 months old, but I still wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because, and it's a safety concern related to recent trends in financial institution customer fraud scheme. So scammers are impersonating bank representatives to fraudulently obtain bank cards with the chips. So remember when we all first started with credit cards and debit cards, it was just the magnetic strip on the back that you swiped. And then they were more, because that was not encrypted, they got more secure, and the cards have those little chips in them. This is what this PSA is about, are those bank cards with those chips. So the safety concern here is that the impersonators, which are the scammers that are impersonating the bank representatives, are hiring accomplices to come to the customer's home. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on how the scheme works. So the bank customers are contacted by phone from a number that caller ID indicates is from their bank. So it's going to come across and say, that the scammers can make it say whatever bank they want. That's going to come across. And then the scammer is going to ask about recent transactions, which will lead the customer to believe that there's fraudulent activity on their account, because they're just going to make up different activity. And you're going to be like, no, that wasn't me. That's fraud. No, that wasn't me. Right. And so then the scammer advises the bank customers to cut up their bank card, but are instructed to leave the chip intact because it needs to come back to the bank. So don't cut the part of the card up where the chip is. And then the scammer arranges for an accomplice, but they are also allegedly from the bank. They're posing as a bank employee to pick up the bank card with the chip intact from the customer's residence. And if the scammers do not have the customer's PIN number for their card, they will use social engineering techniques to obtain this from the customer. We've talked a lot about social engineering techniques, right? They'll say they need to verify, that it's you they're talking to before they can give any information out. And so we need the PIN on your card, right? Kind of like a two-factor authentication, but it's your PIN number on the card. That's just one way that that they could try to get the PIN number from you. But they're very clever and crafty, so they'll have a variety of different reasons that they'll give you. So then it's been reported that if the customer has not already done so, the accomplice that comes to the house to pick the card up will assist the customer by cutting the card and leaving the chip intact before they take the card and the chip with them. Now, once the scammers have this chip, that's all they need is the chip and the PIN number. They can steal funds from the customer's bank account. So it does say in this public service announcement that the impersonator, it's unknown how the impersonators were obtaining personal information, bank account information, names, addresses, all that. And it's believed at the time of August of 24 that no specific age demographics are being targeted. So I thought this was just really important to get that out there, and just know that if you get a call or get any communication purporting to be from your bank, you don't rely on any information that's given to you, whether it's a text, a phone call, an email, something in the mail. You call your bank's verified phone number, or you actually go down to a banking branch and talk to somebody about it. That's your way to verify whether this information is accurate or not. And just be very careful, somebody wanting you to cut up your card and then having somebody come pick it up saying that the bank needs it, because they have that chip information, and they have your PIN number, they have access to your account. And so that's another thing. If you end up getting say you get a new debit card, or you get a new bank card, and you're cutting yours up to throw away, make sure you destroy the chip part in the card as well. I'm sure you can always just take it to the bank itself, and they will destroy it. But you can cut it up yourself, or if you have a shredder, there's a lot of shredders now that have a specific slot where you can put cards in there and it shreds the cards. But you want to make sure that chip part of the card is destroyed. So that's all I have for you today. Remember, if you want to go look at the whole IC3 2024 report, you go to so I as in indigo, C as in cat, 3.gov, and go under, I think it's under like public reports, and then annual report for 2024. I also found this public service announcement on their website as well. You could just search for, public service, FBI public service announcements, and you'll be able to find it. Next week, I'm going to be off, but a guest host, Brian Watson, our community outreach specialist, will be here hosting next Tuesday, and he's going to be talking about how scams have evolved back from 20 or so years ago, how they started and how they've evolved over the years. So it's going to be a great show. Make sure you tune in and listen to him next Tuesday. And don't forget, you can find more resources, our social media links, and also sign up for our newsletters at the bottom of the homepage. We send one in the mail, and we do one via email. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.